Yes, let's pour one out for Derrick Henry, my lover, my friend. It's been a tough week for me. I'm trying to rebound from uh, just the madness with the number one fantasy player going down. We'll get into that. Welcome, Weekend Warriors, to the Week 9 edition of the show. It's a little bit early this week. This taping is as of Wednesday, taking a couple days off from work and the podcast. So this will come out on Thursday, taping a little early. But the big story, obviously, is Derrick Henry going down. I am donning a Adrian Peterson vintage throwback Minnesota Vikings jersey. And it's funny because I almost wore this last week on the Halloween episode, and I had that in my left hand and my Culpepper in my right hand. I was like, oh, I'll take the Culpepper. It's black, goes with the Halloween theme. And then this week, I'm right back in my closet grabbing number 28. And I did spend a big amount of fab on him. Kevin spent some fab on McNichols. McNichols probably the more pass-catching guy. Peterson, my team is Tom Brady and Adrian Peterson. 10 years ago, I'd be great. Fortunately, Brady's still playing well. I'm banking on the fact that Peterson can hopefully, he's a freak. I know he's 36 years old, and I don't think he's going to be Derrick Henry, but if he can be 50% of Derrick Henry, maybe the source, the commish, has a chance still. Had the number one running back, number one quarterback, and number one wide receiver through the first 8 weeks. And now one is gone. And the other this week is on bye. We'll get to that in a little bit of my matchups. But in any event, 6-2, got to stay afloat. Yes, I'm giving myself a pep talk on my own show. I have the microphone and you don't, so you will listen to every word I have to say. Shout out Adam Sandler, the wedding singer. So, in the week 8 recap quickly. Stop me if you heard this before. I went 2-3. I'm either 2-3 or 3-2 for my fantasy football picks. I had Dean over Valone. Mahomes lets Dean down again, and Valone's Devontae Booker does enough on Monday Night Football to squeak one out. Heartbreaker for Dean. Stop me if you heard that before. Burt over PP. No, PP over Burt. AJ Brown has a big week, and Pearson scores 130-some points. He's back in it at 3-5. Maybe he'll watch this week. He's been boycotting the podcast, but something tells me he may watch this week. He's doing a little better, so maybe his spirits are being lifted up. Otley over Jake. That was also incorrect. Jake pulled the upset over Ott. I guess shout out to Jake for not talking smack on the show. It worked out for him. And then Terry over Chris, that happened. Ty over Kevin, that happened. 2-3 on the week for a 21-17 total on the season. So pretty good. The high score of the week. I'll say it one more time. Stop me if you heard this before. Terry, his third high score of the week in 8 weeks. $75 he's accumulated so far. And I tell you, every week it's a carousel. Who has the best team? Right now, Terry has the best team. Unquestioned, undisputed. 0-2 in my NFL picks. I'm 5-11 on the season. I had the Lions plus 3.5. They lost 41-0, so we almost backdoor covered there. And then I had the Cardinals minus 6.5 on Thursday Night Football, and they lost outright. So you could say state of affairs are very good on the sports betting side of things. We're shaking that off. Like me and Malone say, shake it off, Taylor. If I had it queued up, I'd play it. But anyway, moving into Week 9, the storylines, we mentioned a couple so far. The big one is, 3 teams now at 6-2. Myself, Terry, and Jake. Obviously, I take a big hit here. Jake beating Otley, though, big for the league. Could have had a couple teams at 5-3 and 2 teams at 6-2. Now Otley down to 4-4 kind of separates those top 3 teams. But then you have Brett there at 5-3. So the 3 and 5 teams, and there's 4 of them, are very much in play here, especially with some of these injuries this week. And when I say some of these injuries, I mean Aaron Rodgers on the COVID list. Hurts some Packers. We already talked about Henry. Jameis Winston going down. Hurts some Saints. So every week feels like I say we're in the thick of it. We've arrived. This is the craziest week so far. And the deck is reshuffled yet again. So here we go into Week 9. And the first matchup on the slate is Pearson versus Dean. Pearson's making a comeback. 2 in a row, scored some points last week. Might get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back this week. Probably won't, but might have him back. Pearson's being optimistic. He's got him in his lineup right now. I respect that. Amari Cooper saved Pearson's season last year, as Pearson said it so poetically. The ball went up in the air, got tipped around, off Bashaud Breeland's hands. Cooper ended up catching that somehow. And then in the end zone, fantastic catch over one of our crap corners. And Cooper, tied the game, and then Shepard only needed one catch. That's basically what he got, and then he got injured again. So can Pearson hang on? Fant's got COVID now. Kamara, I think, takes a hit with Taysom back at quarterback, but Burrow's slinging the ball. He's been a good pickup for Pearson. On the other side, Dean, maybe he'll get McCaffrey this week. Maybe he won't. That could be huge in this matchup. Darrell Henderson has been great. Josh Jacobs back against the Giants. And Mahomes at home against Green Bay without Rodgers. I think that actually hurts Mahomes. I think, if they had Rodgers, he'd probably be throwing a little bit more in a competitive game. So this one could go either way. It's 50% and 50%. Dean's had bad luck. Pearson's had bad luck, but the luck's starting to turn. I'm going to take Dean against my better judgment here. It is a coin flip, and I'm taking Dean. At the end of the Harding curse, I don't know, Dad. I had a big injury here, so maybe it's on Jake's shoulders now. But I'm taking you to beat Pearson in Week 9. I think you have a better team. I think some of these guys that have been letting you down might turn the corner. And I think McCaffrey does play. So there you go. Moving into the second matchup here, we have Can You Dig It versus Pearson's father. Kev is struggling. He's been complaining about his points against. He's second to Chris T. Last week I scored 140 on him, but Kev, you scored 71. You're not beating many teams scoring 71. You had a bad week. Actually, I'm sorry, you scored 73 and a half. I'm sorry. You had a bad week. Eagles scored 40 points. Jalen Hurts only had 9. He could have easily had some more touchdowns. Tunyon tore his ACL. Evans had a 2-catch day. Swift had a bad week. Nonetheless, Kev's team getting healthier, maybe, but now he's got Swift and Evans on bye. This week he throws Herbert back in his lineup. He's playing the quarterback roulette. Aaron Jones takes a big hit without Rodgers. And you have some questionable starts. Just with those two key guys on bye. Flip the script to Jake. Devontae Adams back from COVID. Rodgers goes down to COVID. Does get Lamar Jackson back. James Robinson questionable, which could be pretty significant in this matchup. Michael Pittman looking like a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. Jake keeps getting it done. And unfortunately, Kev, you're not right now. I think you're still in it. I think this is a tough week. You need to squeak by even with your guys on bye week. I'm taking Jake to continue to roll. He's won 4 in a row. I think it's 5. Moving on to the next matchup, which is going to go down as the matchup of the week. Terry versus Bert. Bert a lot versus Bert. Huge matchup. And for multiple reasons. I mean, Brett lost last week in a game he should have beat Pearson. The week before he snuck by in a game he should have lost to Dean, so I guess it evens out. But Bert has the best running backs in the league probably right now. Maybe. Him and Terry together. But I'd say Bert, now you got to hear Chris over there. I hear Chris from 3 towns over. But I got Eckler, I got Chubb, whatever. Ezekiel Elliott, Najee Harris, 2 top 5 guys, especially with Henry going down. And Harris has been playing well too. But don't look at Brett's receivers. You might throw up. Lockett finally had 150 yards. He's on bye this week. You got Tony, who's injured, said he didn't even remember going to the locker room. It's weird. Boyd, who was Dean's trash, and then he's got Keenan Allen. Receivers are a problem for Bert. But he's got good running backs. Flip the script to Terry. Last week I said Terry's flex was weak. It was Michael Carter. He had the best number 1 running back on the week, Michael Carter. Unbelievable. Pair that with Jonathan Taylor, who I do think is the number 1 running back going forward. If you redrafted today, I'd take Jonathan Taylor number 1. That might shock some people, but good offense, good offensive line. They want to keep the ball out of Wentz's hands. No Derrick Henry. And then Cordero Patterson. So Terry, sneaky good backs. Oh, by the way, he's got Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, but he must be weak at quarterback. He's got Josh Allen. Taking Terry. I think he has the best team in our league. He's a two-time champion. I think Brett can certainly win this week. Until further notice, I hope I don't put the jinx on him. Maybe I do. Terry beats Brett in week 9. Moving on to the next matchup. Team Brownstein versus Otley. Otley texted me and said, Chris must have called in a favor to the Turnerville Sportsbook, and Rogers has COVID. And I said, Chris is going to need more than one favor. He's 1-7. But my brother texted me today. How is Chris's team 1-7? It looks pretty good. Jamar Chase, top 5 wide receiver. Talked about his running backs. Kyler Murray questionable this week, but obviously he's been great. Hollywood Brown back from bye. You got Claypool. Chris has a good team. 1-7. Tua in Ott's lineup now that Rodgers is out. Good matchup. Speaking of good matchups, Zach Moss, who I don't love on a week-to-week basis, has a good matchup against Jacksonville. DJ Moore, at some point you think he's going to start doing something. Is Darnold going to play? I really don't know at this point. Thielen's been fine for him in the trade, and Otley pulled the bag over Pearson's head and spanked his little bottom when he took something from him for Noah Fanta. And Kelsey, can Kelsey get it together? I think he will. I'm still on Team Chiefs that they will get it together. I know they haven't yet. I trust the coach. I trust the quarterback. I'm taking Otley. Last week I almost took Chris. I don't know why. I had a brain fart. Ended up taking Terry. Would have cost me a win and a blemish on my record. I'm not taking Chris. I'm going Otley. And then it brings to my matchup with Valone. Valone quietly now at 3-5. He's won 2 in a row, just like his buddy Pearson. And Valone is catching me on an excellent week. I just bid $26 for a 50-year-old running back. Valone tried to put in for McNichols and Peterson. He said to maybe block me. Didn't matter. My number 1 running back is Boston Scott. He's playing a bad defense. I have no Tom Brady. I have no Chris Godwin. Cooper Kupp is kind of the last man standing on my team as far as dominant players. And I'm going to need, folks, a miracle to win this week. Some bad news for Valone. I know Barkley sounds like he got COVID. He is vaccinated. Pearson asked me, do I have a list of vaccinated players? I do. If you don't, you're not paying attention. So, anyway, he's vaccinated, so he still could get cleared for Sunday. I don't know if he was even going to play anyway because of his injury. It might work out for Valone because Booker's been pretty good anyway. Hopkins questionable. Dak questionable. Elijah Mitchell questionable. I think they're all going to play. We will see. I'm going to pick myself to win. And I feel really bad about it. ESPN gives me a 38% chance. But Cooper Kupp, he can have a 30-point game. If some of these miscellaneous guys I throw in, I think Emmanuel Sanders. I scored 140 points last week, with Emmanuel Sanders got me 0. Let's bet that. I scored 117 points last week. But Emmanuel Sanders scored me 0, and Henry scored me 6. So I can still score 120. Now, Godwin and Brady got me 55. I'm not going to have either one of them. But my point is, I'm trying to give myself a second pep talk. I can still compete. I'm taking myself over Valone. I'm going to scratch and claw for this one. I'm going to earn it. I got AP, ADAP, baby. And we're back in the thick of it here. So, NFL picks. Every week I give a pick. I give my reasoning why I think they're going to win. And then I'm 5-11 on the season. So how does that work out? Colts minus 10.5. Take it. Mike White, I'm not buying it. It's bullshit. I got the Colts defense. Colts minus 10.5 after a tough game against Tennessee. And then my favorite pick of the week. I got a couple. I have a couple that I like this week. It is Wednesday, so it's a little early for me to choose a pick. I do like the Chargers, but I'm not making them my official pick, even though they did come out and look like crap last week, and I picked against the Eagles, and the Eagles came out and looked good. I am actually going to take the Raiders minus 3. The Raiders have been rolling. They look good coming out of the bye, playing the Giants. Tough loss against Chiefs. Raiders on the road, minus 3. Book it. Guys, enjoy the rest of the week. I'm sure everything will change in the next 3 days with more people getting COVID and injured after this pod. This is the best we got right now. Good luck to you guys. Enjoy and good luck.